Welcome everyone. In today's session, we'll be discussing about language and its features. As we all know, language is an integral part of human life, but it is always taken for granted. It is one of the chief means of human communication, but we are not confining language to human beings alone. Animals also do communicate with the help of the limited language system that they have. First, let's go through the different definitions of language given by famous linguists. First of all, let's start with Aristotle, and he defined language as speech is a representation of the experience of the mind. And according to Edward Sapir, language is a purely human and non-instinctive method of communicating ideas, emotions, and desires by means of a system of voluntarily produced symbols. And when it comes to A.C. Gimson, in his book, An Introduction to the Pronunciation of English, he defined language as a system of conventional signals used for communication by a whole community. So different definitions have been given by different linguists, different scholars. Now we are going to analyze what are the features of language, characteristics of language. First of all, it's like it is a chief means of communication and as well as self-expression. And it is a unique capacity of human beings or human species. So language can be considered as a vehicle of our thought, and the process of thinking may be involuntary, but its expression through language is voluntary. And that means it takes place under conscious control. And the second feature of human language is it is a system of symbols, primarily of vocal symbols. That is, our speech is mostly composed of sequence of sounds produced by our vocal organs. And along with its symbols, vocal symbols, we have graphic symbols also, because language that can be represented using graphic symbols in the written form. And the third feature of human language is the relationship between the expression system, and that is, expression means the utterance that is expressed through either vocal or graphic symbols, and the content system, that is a message or the meaning or the idea that is represented by those linguistic symbols. And the connection between the expression system and the content system is arbitrary, because there is no logical relationship between a word and what it stands for. And again, the next feature is language exhibits a structure. It has got a structure. We have 44 speech sounds in English language. It is again arranged into phonemes, morphemes, words, sentence. So we can say that it is composed in the form of a structure. It has got a structure. And the next one is human languages are always structure dependent. Structure dependency is the feature of a human language alone. And then the next feature is every language, whether it is English or whether it is any Indian languages or European languages, it has a limited number of speech sounds. We know in English we have just 44 sounds. And with the 44 sounds, we are capable of creating infinite number of sentences. Infinite number of construction is possible with this limited number of speech sounds. So every language has a limited number of speech sounds, and the total number of words in the language can also be listed. But the number of sentences in a language is infinite. And this property of language is known as creativity or productivity. So creativity means that any human being can construct and understand new sentences in his language which have never been uttered before. So language is an open-ended system. And then recursiveness is another property of human language. For example, I'll just say an example. This is the cat that killed the rat that ate the malt. So by repeating the relative clause pattern, I can add n number of sentences to the existing one. So it is a never-ending sentence. So this property of language is known as recursiveness. And another feature of language is it is a system of systems. As I mentioned, it has subsystems. It's like the hierarchy is there. The hierarchy starts from the phonology, morphology, syntax, and semantics. It goes like in that pyramidal structure. And language is not genetically transmitted. It has to be acquired from the environment. Whatever the language that we are using, it is not learned by ourselves. We acquired it from our immediate surrounding, from our community. And that's why it can be culturally transmitted, but it is not genetically transmitted. And another feature of language is it is a set of social conventions and traditions, because different social groups, they got separated due to different geographical and cultural barriers, and they have different sets of linguistic convention. And another feature is, we can see language as a set of habits, because it is, as I mentioned, we acquired language. We are not learning language, it is acquisition is happening. Similarly, whatever the habits that we acquire, the same way we are acquiring our language. So that is why it is a set of habits. And another important feature is language is always subject to change. So the process will be very slow. It's not all of a sudden language has changed. The transformation or the change takes place over long periods of time. This is all about the features of language. Thank you.